Oh, this place. I remember this place. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Morilibus Plays Minecraft. I'm here in my single-player world, and yeah, I know I haven't been in here in a while, and that is for a valid reason. Well, not really. Well, I've been playing mostly on the Olympus server, and I'm having a good time on there. So I'm finding it less desirable to play on in here. Anyway, I've been having a lot of fun with building the tower and stuff, and I didn't want to force any content on you guys by just recording stuff when I wasn't really in the mood to be playing here. But don't worry, this world is far from like dead or over or anything like that. There's still a lot more I would like to do with it, and I am going to continue on with it. I just might jump back and forth depending on projects that are going on. If I'm busy in Olympus, I might not have time to get involved here. But we're going to do a couple things today. First off, I'm going to start a timer so I don't go over time. I'm really good at that. So let's not make... Because I do know, I find that this is still my most popular series, it seems. Man, am I lost in this. Kind of get confused after being here and there and all over the place. But yeah, I haven't really been playing. There's gotta be darkness around places. I hear mobs occasionally. Darkness right here. But no. Okay, so last episode we worked on this cactus farm. But yeah, sorry, I kind of interrupt myself. Yeah, my single player does seem to get, or has, gotten more views than my multiplayer series. This one averages usually between 2 and 250, thereabouts. Okay, obviously I haven't done much. Oh, 8. That's better than the, I think the 0 I had before. Now there was something suggested. I should have probably figured out who, but something very obvious that I should have done. And to decrease the risk of these blocks causing the cactus to jump back on itself, all we have to do is use signs, guys. Signs. So obvious. So thank you for pointing that out. Didn't even think about it. Didn't even clue in. Don't know if I would have. Sometimes I'm just dumb. Okay, so if we just put signs up there and up here, it's funny how it pauses in single player. So yeah, that should do the trick. Oh, one more. And I did not make enough. That's unfortunate. Okay, well, I will have to come back. No, I don't want "we" written on the sign. And it fell into the cactus. Brilliant. Makes me very happy. Okay, let's get up here maybe. Okay, so we need 3 more. Is there a more efficient way I could have done that with the signs available? I could have gone 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then 1, 2. I probably could have. Yeah, anyway, that'll look just fine. Just fine. And... Okay. You're gonna be like that, are you? Suck it. Do I have wood on me? I do. Okay. Let's make a few more signs, finish this off. So yeah, future for the series, not dead. So, I know it's been, I don't know how long, to be honest, since our last episode, but we will continue on. But yeah, grand plan, if I ever do finish the world, I think it will be when I have like all the beacons set up around the village. They're all controllable, so you can kind of select which one is on and off. And I would have all the guardians in place protecting the village. And I would try to complete as many, if not all, projects that we've got currently going. So we still have that projects board, and it is far from complete, so... Okay, that should do it. So yeah, until that is done, or until I get completely sick of this world, we will carry on. And I hope the other glass went somewhere, maybe in the chest. Oh, nope, in the... right here. Okay, let's get back up there. Let's get back right there. And we should be able to close that up. Okay, so Cactus Farm is done. So the other ones we were going to work on was like cocoa bean and stuff like that. We'll leave that for another day. Today I have a very something. I have a project going that I've been kind of delaying, sort of, and that is the brewing under the library. And that reason I had delayed it was because I hadn't really had a decent design in mind on how to do it. So I hadn't really played around with it yet to find out exactly. Oops, fell. Sorry, phone just rang. I hadn't figured out a nice design that I wanted to use. You have to excuse me, I'm just going to dig around for a little bit. I find that I'm always running out of things that I'm pretty sure I should have. But it's probably just because I don't know where they are. I guess this is all just cobble and stone. We could grab some stone. And didn't need that cactus. Okay. So what we're going to do is going to head up to the surface to our little planning area, as I do have a design in mind, and I will show you guys what we're going to do. Well, that's not annoying at all. Alright, we're going to get a bunch of water bottles going. So we're going to do a brewing thing. Yeah, sure. You can have all my bottles. We'll come back for them in a second here. Should be a stack. Okay. So what we're going to set up is a automatic brewing that will just... Oh god. I'm going to have to kill you all. Well, at least you know they're alive. Now that combined with a bunch of doors opening and closing should be great. Can't wait. Okay, so brewing stand. I want an automated brewing stand that can and will automatically just brew potions for us. We don't have to do anything other than make sure there's ingredients available. We might need some more water bottles. Probably don't need these right now, but we will later. So no harm in getting them already. So it needs to be able to brew the potion automatically. And just there'll be a chest available that we can just go to and grab the potions we need, and it will automatically just top up these chests. So it will keep the chest completely full at all times. As soon as there's space available, it will brew some more potions. So it kind of automatically refills itself. So there will always be however many we choose. We'll probably just make it so there is a chest full, a single chest full. That would probably suffice. And we could always move some to additional storage if we wanted to. And then yeah, so that is the plan. And I have a design in mind. This is probably where the mobs are coming from. We could go sleep. Here we go. And the area where we're going to put them, of course, is down here in our library, down in the underground area. So we'll have to go to our secret case and open the door. And I haven't set up anything to close this yet, so right now it's just in a toggleable state. But I did go ahead and I dug out some area. Now I'd made a design that was basically 9 high, 9 deep, and 3 wide, and that was per potion. So it's not massive, but it's not small either. Then I came down here and started digging out and realized I don't even have that much space to do that, especially because the sewer is right here. So I don't really want to move the sewer. So we're going to try to work with the space we have. So what I did was I went back and redesigned it to make it a bit smaller. Now I don't remember what the footprint is now, but before it used to go from wherever the chest was, it would go up 9 blocks. Now I put some of the wiring a bit lower, and I think it's a total of 8 high now, or maybe even 7 high, I'm not too sure. But anyway, we're not going to build that just yet. What we're going to do is, I'm going to just walk you through how I came up with the design. Because the design itself, being all compact, this repeater is doing this to power this block to do that, and it just gets confusing. So instead of that, I'm going to walk you through what I did to figure it out. And the way I decided to do this, because there's a problem with the brewing stand, and it is as follows. If we hook up, let's move it over here. If we put a brewing stand over here, hook up a comparator to it. Shh, quiet. And we put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. So if we put 15 redstone dust, which is the output of a comparator, right? Give off a signal between 0 and 15. We put some potions in here. It's going to give off a signal strength of 11. Now, if we were to... I don't have any ingredients. Let's get some ingredients. Let's get some nether warts. If we were to add some ingredients to this, where is my nether wart? There's some. So if we put some nether wart into this brewing stand, or at least one, it's going to start brewing. But you also notice it didn't change states. It used to, because it was kind of broken. And because it was broken, it actually worked a little better. Whenever you had just a single item in here, it used to count as basically a stack, 64. So it's counting each of these as only being able to hold one item, because a bottle basically counts as a stack in terms of how much redstone it will output. So each one of these will output a quarter of the 15. But in order to get the redstone to increase, I can't remember how many you need, but it's probably like a quarter, I guess, of the quarter. I don't know, maybe 20? 20 does. Yeah, 20 increases it to 12. And what about like 19? 19 does as well. So anyway, I decided that's not a good way to do it anymore. I had seen a design, I can't remember who it was, that someone on the Damian on the Olympus server showed it to me, and it involved using kind of this. It would output a signal. It could tell when the last ingredient got used up, and that would trigger the cycle. But we're not going to do that. What we're going to do, let's go ahead and let's say we're going to have a chest, right? We want a chest, and we want some spiders. Don't, please no. We want a chest, and we want a brewing stand, and we want the brewing stand to put potions into the chest. So this is the basic idea of it, and we are not going to worry about using a comparator. What we're going to do is we're going to use a timer, and we're going to do I don't think this is the right design. I think I'm not going to use this exact one. I'm going to use kind of the ones I used actually kind of in my store on the Olympus server. Basically taking this hopper, ethos hopper timer, and turning it on itself, or stacking it on itself so it's only one wide. But for this we can just use the basic old timer. Those mobs are going to annoy me. We should probably go to sleep. Let's go to sleep. Yeah, we're going to take that timer, and I've calculated the time it takes for a potion to brew through one ingredient is 52 items in the hopper timer. So I took that, and I'm going to multiply it by 3, and then I'm also going to add in a little bit more to account for just some other things. Quiet. So I'll need to get some items to do that, which I don't currently have on me, but let's make that guy. And we might have to break some stone to get this to work properly. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do this, and we're going to take a torch, and we're going to output this torch somewhere. Let's see here. Let's just put it here. Okay. Will that work? No, it will not, because this guy's going to turn it off as well. So let's just take this torch and do that. Okay. So when we put items in here, it will start its little timer. Let's see. Let's throw some repeaters in there. So once it gets to... we probably don't need that many to illustrate. But every time this thing goes through its cycle, this thing's going to emit a tiny little pulse. And because of this, there's no downtime between brewing. It will use each cycle, so you don't have to wait till all the items get to the other side and then come back. Every time this torch goes, it's going to trigger the cycle where it pulls the bottles that have been completed out of the brewing stand, and then adds in some more water and throws in one ingredient of each type. So if we're doing fire resist, for example, it's going to throw in a nether wart, a magma, whatever it's called, magma cream, and a piece of redstone dust. I'm going to aim just to create the long duration potions. So for now we can stop that. Let me see. So what I decided to do, I don't know if I'm putting this in a good place. We should have put that over there. What we'll probably do is just move the brewing stand. And we'll put that in once we figure out where we need to put it. And I can put those back in. So what I decided to do was I would take this output and I would put it into a little buffer, a comparator buffer. And this old thing that I like to use. And what it does is every time this guy goes, so if we do that again, we can let that go, and every time it will fire, that thing only pulses for a tick, but this will keep that going for a little bit longer. So then what we do is this will be what we use to pull the bottles out. So now what we want to do is we're going to invert one of these. Why stop? Oh, I only put one down. We're going to invert one and keep the other one not inverted. So let's put our brewing stand down again. And let's get our chest. So we should have enough room here, I do believe. So after this, if we have time, I'll go ahead and build one of the ones I've designed already down in there. But essentially, what we do is... Do I have half slabs? Okay. So what we want is this guy will be inverted, the one that's pulling down. So I guess we could just do that, and it's going to be very ugly and obviously not the best way of doing it. We don't need that anymore. So that will power this, so that if we have something in there, it's not going to get pulled out. Now we also want to have hoppers giving water bottles in. So let's get that going. So this will be our hoppers for that, and then we could theoretically have a chest up here, and we could throw our water bottles in there. So if I get some more, we'll do that. Throw some water bottles in, and away we go. And that'll fill up the hopper, that'll fill up that, and it's going to stay like that. Now the other thing we want to do is when this is pulling bottles out, we don't want more bottles to be fed in. So we're going to power this guy at the same time as, I guess, this one. So why don't we just do something like this. There we go. So that will power this whenever this guy gets unpowered. And the only other important thing is that this gets powered either at the same time as this one's being unpowered, or this one should be powered first. If it's powered after, you'll still get like a bottle that trickles in there. So now, let's just assume those have done their trick, although it'd be hard to witness. But if we go ahead and start this up again, we can see this thing in action. And why I'm using this is this provides just a long enough time for all those bottles to be removed. So the bottles are out, and then a new bottle went in. And actually there, I think it pulled out an extra one. So what we're going to do there is, let's try adding a repeater there so that they both have the same delay. And let's find out how well that works. Now there's a bunch in there because I unpowered it for a second. Is this a losing battle? Are we going to be able to win? Can I witness it? Okay, 3 bottles out. 3 bottles in. 3 bottles out. Okay, so it needs to be the same delay, it looks like. Alright. Yeah, it's going to keep doing this cycle until we tell it not to. So let's stop it for now. Okay. So that's half the battle right there. And then all we got to do is set up the delay for, or the timer to have a delay long enough to allow the 3 ingredients to brew. So that's not too hard. I've already figured that part out. So if we put 2 stacks and 32, I think it is, that is adequate amount. And we have more potions than this. Where are they all gone? Anyway. Now, the other thing I need to do is I need to tell this thing to stop, for one. And actually, we're missing another step. The other thing we have to do is add in the ingredients. So this could be done simply by having some droppers positioned above. Now this is what I saw actually on that other design. Let's just, I guess, do that for now. I don't think you can open a chest if there's a dropper on top. Obviously that chest is not in an ideal location. So this I saw in that original design. This was how ingredients were introduced. And I'm going to use it as well because it does seem to work very well and is fairly reliable. So what you do is you put your nether wart down in this one. You put your redstone or whatever in the top one, and you put your regular ingredient. Let's just go ahead and get a regular ingredient. Let's go get some magma cream. And you put that in the center one. Sometimes you have to play around with this, I did notice, but whatever order it happens to be in seems to be consistent. Like I had one set up in the test world where the top one would actually get in the hop dropper before the middle one, but it seemed to do it like consistently, so it wasn't like a random thing, so it seemed to be okay. So we'll do something like that. So there's probably most of the height of the machine actually is right there. And that's actually as high as mine will go in my in the build that I did, is just to the top of the dropper. I think it's actually one lower because I do have the dropper position right here. But just for this instance, because we have the chest there. So what we're going to do is, let's just go ahead and take another signal off here just because it's closer. We're going to use, oh, I put all my redstone in there, did I? Brilliant. Okay. We're going to take this signal again. And we're going to, you can do this a few ways. Basically, we have to get it up here. Now, I found one problem with doing this is you can't put this through a repeater, or it won't carry through. It will get delayed too long that it won't, it'll get extended and it won't actually get interrupted. At least that's what I found. Okay, so we could do that. This doesn't really matter if it's on all the time or off. So let's just try this out. Let's just do a typical torch tower. So that'll fire all 3. We're powering the middle one. So all 3 will go in there. But because this is just going to pulse, it'll turn off and then turn on again each time. So it's just going to pulse it again. So that could be in an on state or an off state. It doesn't matter. Whoops. And we don't want those to connect. Okay, so actually if we go over here, it's probably brewing some potions for us. It did something, okay. What did it do? So in this case, it looks like the redstone made it down before the magma. So I think that's what I was mentioning. So let's see here. Can I put anything in there, or does it only let me put an ingredient? Only lets me put an ingredient. Okay. Let's try that again. Well, let's see here. Okay, if we just break this. Let that fire. Again, redstone made it down first. So nether wart is getting in there first, but then it's redstone and then magma cream. So if that happens, all I got to do is swap them around. I don't know why that happens, but it looks like it just does occasionally. But it seems to be all the time. So if it happens once, it seems like it's going to happen all the time. So now we've got magma and redstone. So that's what we want. We want it to enter here in the order that it's supposed to. Okay, so we got water bottles. We got nothing. So now, every time the thing runs, so we should be able to activate it again. But let me put the right amount of items in here, and I'll also sleep through the night and bring you right back. Okay. So now I've got it set up. We've got 2 stacks, 32 in there. So that's long enough for it to brew a potion with 3 ingredients, basically. So it will do the nether wart, it'll do the magma cream, then it'll add some redstone. So we should get 8-minute potions. Now the first batch is going to be wasted just because of the way this thing works, but once it's up and running, it's fine. But because the initial start here, we're going to have water bottles, so we'll just have to reintroduce these water bottles back into the system. But once the thing is going, it will be fine. And I got some awkward potions, which I don't want. Go away. I swear I put more water bottles in. Can we just get a whole ton of water bottles? Alright. So we could let that go. However, before we do, we gotta have 2 other variables. So we want this thing to stop whenever the chest gets full, so that it doesn't keep ticking away and throwing more and more ingredients in, because it'll keep throwing ingredients, but these bottles won't have anywhere to go. So we're just getting an accumulated of nether wart in there, an accumulation of the other ingredients in the other stuff, and then eventually it'll overflow, and we don't want that. So we got to know when it needs to stop. So we can do that simply by, and I'm just going to do this very messy. What I'm going to do is, instead of reading the chest, I'm actually going to read the hopper below. So if we take a comparator right out the side, and this one is going to, let's see, it will output a signal strength of 1 every time that an item goes through it. So we don't want to activate anything on that, but we could activate something whenever it gets to a signal strength of 2. And we could simply do something like this, and we could power the hoppers themselves. Oops, it's going to start running. It's running. It's okay. So it's going to go through its phase right now. So if we do something like this, now this is very big and unnecessary, but this is what we're going to do. So when this hopper gets full, it will turn on this comparator. When it gets more than 1 bottle stuck in here, it will activate this, I think. Is that right? No, 1 bottle will give off more signal strength than that. So what we got to do is figure out what 1 bottle does. 1 bottle will give off 20% of 15, so about a signal strength of 3, I think. So it's signal strength of 4 that we want to do. Yeah, with 1 bottle it'll give off 3. The next bottle will be at least 4. And that will power that. So right now it's going through. I have 2 stacks and 32 in there. Oops, not supposed to have the repeaters in there. And we can see this is going through its step, and actually it's almost done. So what we should see is, okay, fire's done. Thing gets activated. And what it did was it locked that top hopper to prevent any more water bottles from coming in. It unlocked this one, allowed the fire resist to get trickled down in here. And there were those 3 initial water ones that we got to reintroduce. But that's just a one-time thing. Once the thing's set up, you don't have to do it anymore. And now it's going through its cycle again. So it, yeah, locks that one, unlocks this one, pulls those bottles out, locks it, unlocks. 3 new water bottles come in. Ingredients get deposited. Oh, we got something wrong here. So maybe that isn't a consistent thing. We'll have to play around. Might have to see, I don't know. I've had success in my test world, but maybe there is something going on here. Also, I don't know if having a half slab here might be interfering. But anyway, this is just kind of a demo. Okay, so that's one thing we want to control when it needs to stop making potions. The other thing we got to tell it is, if I don't have any water bottles, I also need it to stop. Because if it doesn't, it's going to do the exact same thing. There's going to be no bottles in here. It's going to try to brew potions, but it's not going to. And then it's going to, yeah, there we go. See now, let's see. See if we can get this thing back on track. It started to mess up. It'll do the exact same thing. It'll start throwing and ingredients will start stacking, and then you won't be able to reset the system without manual intervention. We don't want that. So again, we can do a comparator reading on one of these, either the dropper there, so as long as there's water bottles in there, it will run, or we could read a chest, or we could read whatever. But as long as it gets to a point where... silly guys. So what we can do is actually... Actually, I don't think we want to read the hopper. Let's make it so there's a little bit of a reserve, because then that might not work out. Let's read... Oops. Let's read the chest instead. And that's kind of what I'm doing in the other design, where I'm reading a secondary hopper, not the initial hopper. So there's a little bit of a buffer. So if we do... Let's read the chest. And... comparator, so it's going to give off a signal as long as there's items in the chest, and it will keep this torch off. So now we got basically two systems that will activate under two different conditions, and then they will both do the exact same thing, which is turn off the hopper timer, which will prevent any more items from occurring. And it should do it early enough in the stage so that all the items will end up either in the other hopper? Yep. Or I think it might even let a couple through. It depends how much delay we have in the system. So now it should be going, but it is messing up. So let's try switching those ingredients around again and see if that helps. So something, yeah. It's not liking it. I don't know why. It should... You would think... Crap. Okay, let's set it up again. We got some mundane because it messed up. Goodbye, mundane. Alright. You would think the first one would fall. I know there's some randomness to these guys, but typically that's... I don't think it's... There's that much height variance in the way it's flung out. I think it's more flung in a sideways momentum area. But anyway... So we can see here we have actually no bottles. So this thing has actually stopped itself. And you can see here it did it pretty early in the stage. So it got 8 items over here before it locked itself up. And that'll be okay, because actually when it unlocks itself, it's not going to try to brew another potion until this thing fires again. And it's always trying to put water bottles in. So what it's going to do is, as soon as we add... Now that would have been brewed. That would have been a fire resist, right? Because I had to pull out the ingredients if it had done it correctly. So what it'll do, as soon as we add water in there, it's just going to sit there for a bit and unpower this and let this thing go through that cycle. So it'll move all these items into this chest, which we can demonstrate by getting some more water bottles. Yay! So if we add more water bottles to the system, it's now going to say, hey, oh, there's items. So now it's moving all those items through. These have had plenty of time to brew themselves, so they would already be fire resist, unless you noticed, like instantly, that it was out of water, and even then, there'd be enough time. So once this is done, it will pull these, which should be fire resist potions, out, and add them into here. So that's one safety mechanism. So ideally you want to have a lot of water bottles kind of backlogged so that it doesn't run out very often. And unfortunately that does have to be manual at this point. I don't know if they'd ever make it so you can automatically fill up water bottles. But yeah, that is that. So the other failsafe is this guy. So if we create a backlog, which we could do by, let's throw some potions in to the bottom chest. Let's just get this thing to fire once to prove that's going to work. Okay, so now it goes. We get water bottles in. We got nether wart. Yeah, there's something going on. I don't know if it's positional or what. It had to happen once in the test world, and I might have to see. I had it when I had the droppers pointing a certain way, and I moved them to another area pointing a different way, so like facing here, basically. And it didn't do it. So I don't know if it's directional. Maybe I'll take a look at the test world and see which direction that was. This way's south. Okay, which is unfortunate, but we can deal with that if we need to, I guess. So now if we fill up that with water bottles, and then fill up this with water bottles, and then we put an item in here. So you can see it's now got a signal strength of 3, which it won't shut down the system yet, because there's still room for another batch of bottles. So it's going to allow that to occur. But as soon as this batch is done, there we go, fire resist go down. Now it says, nope, too many things, shutting down the system. And here, it actually only got one item through before it shut itself down. So that's basically how this thing works, and will work, hopefully, if I can sort out the ingredient issue. Worst case, we might have to move one of the droppers a little bit higher up, I guess. I don't know. So that it has greater distance to fall. That will, unfortunately, increase the size of the machine, which is a downer. But in test world, I haven't had any problems with it. I brewed full chests worth of potions, and it worked out quite well. So I'll have to see, but it may be directional. I had all mine built the same way, so we'll have to see. But I'll have to check the time. I don't know if we have actually time to go ahead and build one down here, unless I do it all off camera, and I might just show you one of them in action. But otherwise, we'll have to continue this another day. It's better. Ow. And yeah, the idea was to line them up all along this wall, and maybe this wall as well. We'll have to figure out which potions we want. Probably don't need to have all of them, but I would like to have the fire resist, regen, strength, various speed ones, I guess, like regular speed 8 minutes, maybe some speed 2, and then possibly some speed 2 like splash as well. And we can easily add in another ingredient if we need to, like if we want to make them splash, we could add gunpowder to the mix. We'll just have to add in another dropper to drop in the gunpowder at the very end on the top. And then we would have, we'd have to increase this timer as well to account for that extra ingredient. So we'd have to add in another 52 items to accommodate that. But yeah, so this is the basic idea of the machine, and I figured it'd be easier to follow what's going on if I built it like this than if I tried to build my compact one, which is, I guess, not really all that compact, but I think it's 8 high, 8 deep, and 3 wide. But in the end, we will be able to have a brewing stand here, 2 spaces, a brewing stand, 2 spaces, a brewing stand, 2 spaces. So I figure that's pretty good, and should look pretty good. I have a basic design in mind as well. As I was trying to get the thing to work, I wanted to make sure the aesthetics would work as well. Whew, I need some water, guys. I'm sorry. I think we'll call it an episode here. And I hope you enjoyed. We didn't get too much done, but we got to kind of go through a process of how I do my redstone. So I basically do things like this. If I want to get something to do a certain thing, I lay it all out. I don't care how big it is. And then I go ahead and figure out how can I make this smaller. Because obviously there's plenty of excess redstone and space. So I basically took something like this in my test world and I rearranged it to try to make it as compact and also tileable. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. No bye-bye. Let's think about it, guys. I got an idea. How we could sort this out so that it will work all the time. And all it involves will be more hoppers. So if we put some hoppers just straight up, and this way we should be able to have everything in the proper order. This way they will get pushed into the hopper and then down. Now the only other thing I could think of that may be causing problems is perhaps it's being butted or something, and maybe that one was firing first. I don't see how that could be happening based on how things are laid out, but who knows? And actually this way you don't even hear a click, which I guess could be good or could be bad. I guess it's more quiet. So now, gotta clear everything out. There's stone in there. Alright, so now we can simulate, there we go, a new cycle. I do kind of like the click, but now we got nether wart, magma, redstone. Let's try again. Just do some manual tests here. And we've got magma, redstone, nether wart. So yeah, that should do the trick, guys. That does solve that one problem. And actually, I think with that in my other design, I could do some other stuff, like some more, maybe some light indicators showing you like when there's water available, or other things like that. Maybe we could even have ingredient sensors as well, so you know when it's out of ingredients it will also stop working. Although without the ingredients, I guess, yeah, it could still mess up. You'd get some faulty potions going through, or just water bottles filling up the chest. But anyway, okay, well that does solve a problem. And of course that's higher than it needs to be, but yeah. Alright guys, now bye-bye for real. Bye-bye.